Hi there, Cliff. How you doing?
Hi there, Martin.
Is something wrong?
Well, it's just Harper's gotten his own custom showcase, and I've been wanting mine for a while now. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Oh, I'm sure that you'll get yours. Just have to wait.
I suppose. Wait a moment. Is that who I think it is?
It is. It's Connor.
Hey guys. It's been a minute. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fine, but I don't think that Cliff is doing any better.
Oh? Why's that? Well, it's just Harper and all of the other engines have gotten their own custom showcase, and I've been wanting mine for a while, but I don't think mine is gonna ever come, considering I'm unfinished in certain areas. Oh, well, I have been considering other engines for, their own custom showcase. How about this? You'll get your own custom showcase today. Are, are you serious? I am. And you know what? Martin will get his too also. It'll be a dual review, I guess.
Oh, I'm ecstatic. Thank you.
It's not a problem. You guys are going to get yours eventually anyway this year, so might as well be now. That being said, I'll call my camera guy and he'll come shoot your video. But for now, I have to take a train. It's been nice seeing you guys again. I'll talk to you guys later. Did you hear that, Martin? We're getting our own showcase.
I did. I'm very excited about it. I'm ready for the camera.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host Connor, and welcome back to the second episode of Meet the Fleet Season 2. Today we are taking a look at two characters actually. They are the shunters known as Martin and Cliff. Now Martin and Cliff are very, very dear OCs of mine. Mainly Martin, because he's been around with me for the longest, and he's pretty much... I'll get into him later. But, I'm very excited to show these guys off, and I will say that they aren't completely finished. They still have a few things I need to do, mainly this guy's wheels here need glossed up and just touched up or whatever. But other than that, they're pretty much done and ready to go. I figured why not? Let's get them both out of the way and get two characters for the price of one. So, let's get into the showcase. So, I want to take a look at Martin first because he is the one who's been around with me longer. Martin, along with characters like August or, Simon, have been around with me for a long time. Martin, funny story, he used to be the main character for a series older than Black Valley itself. And that was when I was on my other channel, the Turek Railway, and the series was going to be called The Turek Tales. And Martin here was going to be the main character. That fell through because I thought of other characters and it just fell through. It wasn't working for me, but I decided to start from scratch, and originally he was the main character through and through. That was until a new main character came along, and you'll see that when episode 1 drops. So and this wasn't his original basis either. Martin was unoriginally, I say unoriginally because he used to be an E2, a blue E2. Yeah, that actually happened. Because I was a very naive 15, 16-year-old when I was doing this. I believe I was 15 when I wanted to do this, or when I made Martin version 1. I'm 20 now, so I guess put that into perspective of how old some of these characters are. As you can see, his basis has changed drastically, and he's had a few different bases over the years. His main one being the E2, which was his original one. Then I changed it because of one of my friends, Sky. She was doing sprites during a time, I believe a couple years ago, and I said, what would Martin look like as an N2? But me being me, and with me having purple as my favorite color, I was like, make a purple N2, but make it not Ryan. It still looked like Ryan, and I was like, you know what, this does not work. So so that fell through, and he just remained in N2 for a while until I bought a couple Rosie models about a year and a half ago, and I was just looking at one of them, and I was like, what if I make Martin Rosie's class? So I painted him up and put a face on him, and here we are now. And this way he's still keeping his blue, he's still keeping the red lining, just a different basis, and I really love how he turned out. So now let's get into some of the details here. He absolutely looks beautiful. I love it. I love him so much. He each character of mine represents, or they have a Sudrian parallel. Like let me just bring out, like, Rowan here. His parallel is Henry, because he's the heavy goods engine, and mainly that. And then I don't have any other characters on me for a good comparison, but like Harper, he's essentially the sassy character. We have another character that we're going to meet soon, who is essentially that, but yeah. But Martin's parallel here is Percy, and he's a small shunter. He gets a lot of work done, and he tries to be very civil with others, but due to the bigger engines constantly picking on him, he just doesn't get the respect he deserves, and it's hard for him to make friends. But he has a few friends, like Cliff here. He's made friends with most of the shunters and a few of the big engines, but other than that, the other engines do not like him for whatever reason. We'll find out. But yeah, he is based on Rosie's class, and I decided to go for, I don't want to say a more realistic approach, but I just really enjoy the details I gave him. I just think he looks great. And if you've noticed something, let me just bring out some of these other characters. I've mentioned this in one of my, I believe I mentioned it in Casey's showcase here. Get a good look at all of these engines and tell me, what do you notice? Yes, my OC is back, by the way. I found him. Do you notice something? They all have brass caps. I love putting brass caps on my models. They're just so pretty. I love it. And Martin here was honestly probably the easiest to give a brass cap because of how profound the rim around his funnel is. Unlike something like Cliff here, where it's just like a standard Thomas smoke box, but with, you know, the weird, I don't know, the standard funnel. I really enjoy this kind of funnel, and I just think it looks great. Now, Martin here, he has a few color similarities going on with another character. Why is my phone not focusing? Come on now. Okay. We're having technical difficulties. That is not fun. If I just bring you here, whatever. I'll just switch the camera angle. There we go. Cool. So now, his details were all done by hand, except for the window bits and the black, I guess, cavity, if you want to call it that, was done by masking tape, but everything else was done by hand. The lining, the line here, I believe, was done by hand. Yeah. Yeah, everything was done by hand. The buffer beams were also masked off. But I just love the color, and I mainly based him around this one blue S100. I don't remember what it was called. I don't know if it had a name or not. I can't remember. I'll put a picture on the screen. But yeah, I really enjoyed that color, and I said, you know what, I'll make Martin this engine because I just love it. And once again, the face is made by same person who makes all my faces, like for my OC. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing on the bottom. I do have to touch up the wheels a bit because some of them are chipping. But other than that, it's fine by me. And now we get into Cliff. Cliff is honestly a character I didn't really consider making. Some backstory. Okay, so essentially the friend who made my faces had a character who was a 9400 Great Western engine. So I made a model of it, you know, because why not? And then I didn't want to keep it as that anymore. So I figured, you know what, I have a spare Great Western engine. Why don't I turn this into another character? So I figured, yeah, I just have a spare. I'll just use it. So this was made using Cliff was made using a duck, you know, an old style duck, in which I just cut off the weird funnel dome thing here. As you can see, I also cut off the front, like for enough space to fit the what is it, smoke box. And then the firebox was made using clay, I believe. It was either, yeah, it was clay. It was clay, because I didn't have Milliput at the time. Using clay, and then this is actually the most recent addition, was this whistle here. Then I added real coal to the back. Not real coal, but just like, I used ballast and painted it over. And painted it in my Great Western Green, which is sap green from Folk Art. Then I used 14 karat gold metallic from Folk Art for the whistle and dome, or safety valve, sorry. And then copper for the brass cap. And I just love Cliff. He's just so, I love him so much. Cliff, well, I love all my OCs, but Cliff, I just love him. He'll be friends with he tries to be friends with everybody. He's like a dog. He tries to be friends with everybody, but not everybody wants to be friends with him. Like, I guess a spoiler, Casey is great friends with Cliff. Like, he just thinks he's a great guy. But there are engines like Simon and, you know, other big engines like, I'll have to find a good example. Like, here, you know what? I'll pull her out of her box. Like, engines like Alice here. That is her name. Her name is Alice. She was from the Casey video. Engines like Alice who really care for him, but like she thinks he can be a bit overwhelming at times. And I guess that's valid. But yeah, he just wants to be friends with everybody. As for detail, like, see, I don't put numbers or, like, lettering on my engines. Like, the original Simon model had, GWR, but I don't do that anymore. I mean, granted, the name is on the bottom, but, like, for, like, actual engines, I don't do that. Mainly because, I don't know, I just like the plain aesthetic, I guess. And, yeah, once again, face made by the same person. I do have to touch up the running board down here, and there might be a few details I've missed, but I can certainly go back and, you know, touch them up and, you know, do them. I will say that Cliff will have his paint color changed in a future episode of my series, not season 1 though, just gonna say that, because, why not? It doesn't hurt. And, yeah, I don't know what else to say about these two. They'll just be frequent appearances in my series, and, you know, I couldn't be happier to introduce them. I think this year we're definitely starting out with some bangers. First we had Harper. Now we have these two. And by the way, I also forgot to mention, these are also models I Mod Podged up. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have any progress photos, though. So, some of these engines won't have progress photos because I just didn't really take any. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Goodbye.